Before we begin today, I just want to say a heartfelt thank you to those of you who sent gifts from our wedding registry. Tim and I were both so moved. Your kindness made us feel incredibly loved and seen during this very special time in our lives. Whether it was a note, a gift, or just a prayer whispered for us, please know it meant more than you'll ever know. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you for being part of our story. We're so grateful. There was a time when I didn't recognize the woman staring back at me in the mirror. She looked tired, worn, like all the color had drained from her skin and her world. My days were blurred, just getting through 1 minute to the next. The hours stitched together by fear, guilt, and the hollow ache of trauma that refused to let go. I wasn't living, I was surviving, and even that felt generous on some days. It wasn't some grand event or milestone that turned things around for me. It wasn't a fancy vacation or a self-help seminar or even a full night's sleep. It was a slow and holy unraveling, found not in escape, but in the most ordinary of places, in the dishes, in the dusting, in the scent of fresh laundry, warm from the dryer. Homemaking saved me, not in a flashy, overnight kind of way, but in a sacred inch-by-inch kind of way. And it all began, strangely enough, with a mop. I remember the day clearly. It was raining outside, soft and steady, the kind of rain that made the trailer windows fog up just slightly and made everything feel quiet inside. Even when my thoughts were screaming, I was pacing, anxious. Tim was at work. The house was still, and my brain wouldn't let me rest. My chest felt tight, my skin too sensitive, my breathing too shallow. I didn't know what to do with myself. And then, for no real reason, I grabbed the mop. I didn't plan it. I just needed something to do, something to hold, something I could control when everything inside me felt uncontrollable. As I worked the mop across the kitchen floor, I began to feel the smallest sense of rhythm, movement without pressure, a task with a clear beginning and end. There was a comfort in watching the floor go from dull to clean, in seeing progress when my own healing felt like such a tangled mess. I didn't realize it then, but I was beginning a new kind of therapy, one that didn't require an office or a copay, just a quiet kitchen and a heart willing to try again. That mop became more than a tool. It became a reminder that no matter how overwhelmed or anxious I felt, I could still do something. I could still care for my home. I could still move forward. And little by little, I started leaning into those small acts of care, wiping down the counters, sweeping the hallway, washing dishes, not because anyone expected it, but because it gave me space to breathe. I used to believe divine moments only came wrapped in grandeur, in mountaintop revelations, or life-altering encounters. But God, He stitches His gentlest lessons into the fabric of our ordinary days. Like the afternoon, He whispered eternity to me through a basket of rumpled laundry. There was a particular basket I had ignored for almost a week. You know the one. The basket that quietly travels from the bed to the couch, to the chair in the corner, never quite getting folded, but never quite out of sight either. It held towels and t-shirts mostly, nothing urgent, just fabric waiting to be loved. That morning, I was having a hard time emotionally. I had woken up already feeling behind, already believing I wasn't enough. The mess in my mind was bigger than the mess in the room. I had just come through another wave of it, the kind where depression wraps around your bones like lead, where loneliness makes even sunlight feel distant, Old ghosts from my past had been whispering lies again. You'll always be this broken. No one sees you. No one stays. I'd spent nights curled around those dark memories like stones in my pockets, praying prayers that seemed to dissolve into the ceiling. Still, I walked past that laundry basket, sighed, and sat down beside it. I started folding one piece at a time. No music, no distraction, just me, the quiet, and a little pile of fabric. Halfway through, I picked up one of Tim's shirts. I folded it gently, the way he likes it. And suddenly, I felt this wave of emotion come over me. A whisper in my heart that said, "This matters." I stopped folding and just stared at the shirt in my lap. God was teaching me something, right there in the folding, that the things we consider small are often where the biggest healing happens. That love doesn't always show up in dramatic rescue. It often looks like care, steady, consistent, quiet care. Each towel I folded, each sock I matched, felt like a prayer. God, thank you for another day in this home. Thank you that we have clothes to wear. Thank you for the man I get to love, even in the hard seasons. And thank you for reminding me that I still have purpose, even if it's in folding laundry. Since that day, laundry hasn't felt like a chore to me. It's a ritual now, a kind of communion, a sacred space where heaven meets my ordinary. And friend, this is exactly the kind of real, sacred homemaking we share in our Tea Time live stream family. Because here's what I've learned. The most healing moments, they often happen when we gather together in the quiet spaces. Just like folding laundry, but with teacups in hand. Join our Tea Time live stream family. Every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern, I pour my favorite mug of tea or coffee and go live for our members-only Tea Time live stream. It's a cozy corner where we share homemaking stories that matter, like the laundry lesson that changed everything, lift each other up, with real talk and gentle encouragement. Build the kind of community where no one folds their burdens alone. This live stream is exclusive to members, just $9.99 a month, and you'll get all previous membership perks too. To join, just click the join button below. I'll save a seat for you at our virtual table, because homemaking is beautiful work, but it's always sweeter done together. When you live with PTSD and long stretches of depression, like I have, you learn to find your anchors, the little things that help you steady your soul when life becomes too much. For me, one of those anchors is what I call my peace corner. It's nothing fancy, just a little nook near the front window, a cozy chair, a thrifted blanket, a small table with a candle and my Bible. But this corner became sacred to me. It was the only space in the house where I didn't put pressure on myself. I didn't need to clean it to perfection. I didn't need to film it. I didn't need to make it Instagram worthy. It just needed to be mine. It's where I sip tea and talk to God like a friend. It's where I write in my journal and let the ink carry out the thoughts that I don't have the strength to say out loud. It's where I sit when the memories come flooding in and I need to remember that I'm not that woman anymore. The one stuck inside fear, afraid to go outside, unsure if life would ever feel safe again. Creating your own peace corner isn't about furniture or style. It's about permission. Permission to have a space that nurtures you. permission to rest without guilt, permission to simply be. I always encourage women in my community, if you're in a season of survival, make one small spot your sanctuary. It could be a corner in your bedroom, a chair in your living room, even a spot at the kitchen table with a soft placemat and your favorite candle. We don't need giant makeovers. We need peace in bite-sized spaces. As I began to heal through homemaking, I realized something deeper. The way I cared for my home often reflected the way I cared for myself. When I was deep in the fog of depression, the clutter piled up, because in many ways, so had the clutter in my soul. But as I began to clean, declutter, and decorate with intention, it was like I was slowly peeling back the layers of grief, shame, and fear that had weighed me down for years. And let me be clear, healing didn't mean spotless. There were still messes. There still are messes. But I no longer saw them as proof that I was failing. I began to see them as evidence that life was happening here. That love was being lived out in the scattered shoes by the door, the coffee mug left on the counter, the blanket tossed on the couch. That God was meeting me in the ordinary, sanctifying even the socks on the floor. The biggest change, though, wasn't in the cleanliness or the routines or the systems. The biggest change was in my heart. I stopped trying to make my home impressive and started trying to make it welcoming. I began lighting candles in the middle of the day just for me. I played worship music while I folded towels. I baked bread on hard days just to make the house smell like something warm and loving. And slowly this home, our tiny trailer with its quirks and creaky floors, became my healing ground. I remember the day Tim came home from work, sat at the table while I was finishing dinner and said, "This house just feels so peaceful." I nearly cried into the soup because for so long, peace had felt impossible. And yet, there it was, tucked into the sound of clinking silverware and laughter after hard seasons. If you are in a hard season right now, if you're overwhelmed, if you're grieving, if you're just trying to make it to the next load of laundry, I want you to know this. You don't have to wait for your life to be perfect to start healing. You don't need the perfect farmhouse kitchen or a spotless routine to find peace. You just need to start where you are. Fold one shirt, wipe down one counter, light one candle. Let those small acts of care become your daily "I'm still here." Let your home, even in its imperfections, be a place of comfort, not comparison. And above all, invite God into it. Because when you do, even folding laundry can become an altar. Even cleaning the bathroom can be an act of worship. Even sitting quietly in your peace corner can become the beginning of something new. Homemaking, at its core, is not about appearances. It's about presence. And healing? Sometimes it looks like this. A woman in a thrifted robe, hair up in a clip, hands deep in dishwater, singing softly to a Savior who never stops seeing her, even in the mess. That woman is me. And maybe, just maybe, it's you too. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I pray you leave feeling encouraged, uplifted, and reminded that your home doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. If today's video spoke to your heart, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so you never miss a cozy moment here. And if you'd like to be part of our Tea Time family, I'd love to welcome you in. Until next time, light a candle, pour some tea, and give yourself grace. You're doing better than you think.